We talk about EO&D, that's short for Equal Opportunities and Diversity. We think of it as a journey. It's most certainly not a single event. It's not something you can do today and forget about tomorrow. It's something you will have to be conscious about every day, whatever you do in the organization. It was 13 years ago when we started, and it's been a bumpy road. I would be a liar saying that it's easy and everyone is happy to join the party and contribute, because that's not the way it worked for us, at least. We started with HR, human resources. We had some legal complaints. Some of our staff were not treated equally or with dignity even. And I think it's fair to say that also in our organization, the senior management were that, you know, what somebody could call old schoolboys or something like that. They were all from the same educational background, more or less same ethnical background, a religious background, about the same age when they hit the senior management level. So it was, and it still is, I think that from 1948 we've done some, we've advanced on that sector as well. I think 33% of our senior management are women now, and that's quite a lot, especially in UK standards. Presently, the idea of mainstreaming is about ensuring equality and diversity, that they are embedded in everything we do. So when we started, the first thing to do was to make sure everyone was talking about the same thing. Defining language and terminology is something to consider when you kick off on this road. We defined equality in these words. This might not have been the first version of it, because you will have to revise everything every now and then and look back and see if it's still up to date. So equality was the first word we wanted to go about, and the words in the bottom, equal access and equal chances, equal outcomes, and finally equity, are also words we use. In the Nordic countries, we've talked about equality quite a lot, giving exactly the same to everyone, but we've moved on towards the principles of equity, I think. And then diversity, another word, and we think diversity is actually other side of the coin, equal opportunities being the one, giving everyone opportunities to get access to certain things and removing barriers. And diversity focuses on the uniqueness of each individual, because we're not only men and women and maybe something else. We all consist of different aspects. Actually, I like the salad bowl metaphor quite a lot, because if you mix all the ingredients in a salad, you get a mash. It's something you can't even see what it consists of. It might actually turn into something quite ugly. But a salad, nice fresh salad with all the ingredients there nicely and separately and appreciated. And finally, there's a third term often used, inclusion. And it's quite common that you see when you look at big organizations, they might not have a EO&D department as we do. They might have a D&I department, diversity and inclusion. And then finally, the business argument. This is the argument that gets praise from our business audiences when we go to talk to our partners who might not be human rights oriented, to put it nicely. Because if they understand that there are actually benefits, and you could add a price tag to the benefits, you could really see that it's useful. You succeed if you manage diversity properly. And actually that's, I think, well-known fact that diversity in a workforce, for instance, it does bring benefits. You get a innovative and creative workforce because they are not all the same. and business also from the point of view that your external audience, your market is diverse as well. Well, there might be businesses who deal with very specific sectors and customer segments, but most of them would like to expand their markets, and so do we, and I'm sure you would share the feeling. Well, but age is something we concentrate on also internally, seeing who gets promoted, who gets not. Disability is something we concentrate on quite strongly. In Finland, for instance, the employment rate of disabled people is quite low. It's below the European average, so there could be something to work on in Finland as well. Ethnicity, right? Minority and majority ethnic groups, all welcome. Gender, religion and belief, those who believe and those who believe not are all of equal value for us. Sexual orientation. And work-life balance, that comes very close to the gender agenda that we are talking about these 2 days. Work-life balance is about appreciating people's interests and responsibilities outside of work, because some of us do have life outside of work, and they might have dependents, not only children, but also elderly parents or relatives or the lady in the neighbor. The British Council is very flexible as an employer. We, not only the parental leaves and study leaves and like the regular things, but also for very personal reasons you can get flexibility in terms of working hours, remote working, time off, and so on. So it's really good, and it really does improve staff's happiness and their mental and physical health. So it's a good investment as well. When we got to the point that the framework was done, the theoretical and evidence-based and research-based framework was built, and then how do you implement it? It might sound very fantastic, everything, but how do you do it in a huge organization, especially with hundreds of offices? And actually, EO&D is embedded in everyone's job description, one way or the other. So everyone will be evaluated against their commitment to EO&D as part of their job profile. We do now have structures in place. We've got the human resources. Everybody more or less knows what they are supposed to do around this. To do so, they will need tools. And policies and strategies are the starting point, of course. So how do you know you're going the right way? You've got the strategy, you've got the people and structures, you've got the tools, so everything should be okay. No, not that easy at all. You will have to measure and assess all the time. It's also known that what gets measured gets done. If nobody expects any feedback back from you on a specific angle or perspective, you might just, prioritize other things. Essential level concentrates on putting our house in order. It's about internal things mostly. Then the good practice level, it's about external facing activities. It's about stakeholders, it's about contracts and partnerships, it's about audiences, people we work with, and the way we report our work to the world outside. The best practice level is all these put together. I want to say a couple of words about recruitment, because that's the way anyone gets into the organization, isn't it? And the way we do it, we have started to concentrate more on competencies and skills. The recruitment process is anonymous, so you will have the personal data on a separate sheet. The shortlisters will never know where the person came from. They don't see the candidate's name, because that also directs thoughts to a certain direction. They only see initials. They don't see their gender. They don't see their age. And the only they will see is the evidence the candidate, him or herself, wanted to present to be evaluated. It's about giving opportunity for people who might be disadvantaged in the society, and positive action can be one way to address these things. If you really know what segments of populations are underrepresented, you might want to give them extra support. You should really consider before recruiting anyone that what they are supposed to do in their job. Is it about tree climbing or not? It's small things. It's where do you advertise? Do you only advertise in a place where certain types of people go, or do you go the extra mile and find other places as well where to have your ad? On the level 2, it was mentioned that we do equality monitoring, and that's right. Equality monitoring can be about monitoring your staff, and that's what we do. All UK contracted staff are monitored annually, and we keep track of minorities and how they are represented in our workforce. But it can also be about audiences. The data will have to be anonymous, of course. It's got to be voluntary. Nobody's forced to give any information on themselves if they don't like to. But it's really useful to know, especially if you've done your research and you know the population or the demographics of your target audience, or for instance, in a community, if you're trying to serve your entire community, you would have to know who are the people, more or less. And then you would equality monitor the people you have in your workforce, how well these two things, how well all the minorities and different groups are represented in your workforce or in your audiences. Another example from our level 2 tools, equality impact assessment. This can be also internal or external. It's about really considering how a policy or a program would impact different groups of people. And also when we do kick off a new project or a program, we do the same thing for the programs. We really try to put together a very diverse panel of people from different groups and different experts, also from external experts. We work very closely with NGOs and experts in different countries, and try to see if there are any negative impacts if we run the project, or should we amend something. The holistic approach to diversity and equality, not just concentrating on one distinctive category of equality. For instance, we don't do gender work as such, because I personally feel that I'm more than just a woman, and it would be diminishing or oversimplified to talk about people as representatives of their gender.